I make my way over to Siena, a beautiful medieval town in Tuscany. It happens to be the week the Palio takes place. Now, the Palio is a horse race, but not just any horse race. It's 600 years of tradition. Within Siena, there are 17 districts, or what the Sienese call them, contradas. Each community has their flag. So walking the streets, you really get a sense of how it was and the rivalry between one contrada versus another. It's quite amazing. I stop off and have lunch at Compagnia dei Vinatieri. It's a typical restaurant in Siena. Marco's restaurant is one of those mix between ristorante and trattoria, where he takes classic Tuscan dishes and gives it a modern spin. The marinated anchovies in vinegar work perfectly in this version of panzanella, which is a classic Tuscan bread salad. Very nice. Complimenti.
Grazie.
Now some bruschetta with shredded pigeon braised in white wine. And then pici, a typical Tuscan hand-rolled pasta with fava beans, asparagus, and pancetta. Che buono.
Assolutamente.
Oh, wow. So this is your grandmother's recipe?
Yes.
You start talking the Palio. Now, the Palio is all about tradition. It's about contradas, or districts. There are 17 districts in Siena, and 10 get to race. Marco's contrada, or district, is racing, and he suggests I go visit a friend, Massimo. I meet up with Massimo in the gardens of the Contrada Bruco. And it's one big garden with tons of tables and chairs. Everyone's gearing up for 2 days of festivities. They are passionate about this horse race. If their district or contrada wins, it's like the best day of their lives. First order of business, Massimo takes me to get my scarf. If you belong to a contrada, you get a scarf. And what that means is you don't wash it, you do not remove the knot, you don't iron it. It is yours to hold on to forever. Questa è una cosa ufficiale ora. This is official. So Massimo wants to show me the history of the Palio and the history of Il Bruco. He brings me to the museum, and there you have, beautiful outfits, regalia, flags, all part of the Bruco's history. From the beginning of time, they've been documenting who wins the Palio. It's big bragging rights. So these are all the vittorie, all the victories. We're 2 days before the big race, and people are already in the big party spirit. You have the horse and the fantino, or the jockey, going to the piazza with everyone from the contrada behind them, chanting and singing. The Palio's been around since the 1600s. It's been one amazing story and tradition here in Siena. We arrived to Piazza del Campo. It's the trial race, and the piazza is packed. You'd think today is the big race. The next day, I go back to the gardens at the Contrada. Where do you think the guys are hanging out? The kitchen, of course. 1,500 people coming for dinner tonight, and they asked me to give them a hand in the kitchen. Now, here's the thing. None of the guys are professional chefs. Some of them are doctors, lawyers, accountants, insurance guys. I'm surprised everyone is calm. There's 1,500 people coming for dinner, and not one person is a professional chef. We're just cooking the pork in olive oil to get a nice golden crust, and then we finish cooking it in the oven. So I just added some wine now to deglaze the pan and get all those beautiful bits of flavor, the pork that got stuck to the pan. And we add everything into this big pan. This is all the reduction of wine and those little bits of flavor, the meat flavor. Just adding a little bit of oil. This is a coating that goes over the seared pork. It's almonds, pistachio, cumin, and fennel. Just mix it in and then gets cooked in the oven. La pancetta. And now a quick side for tonight's big meal. A little bit of pancetta, some garlic, and this gives a nice smoky flavor. And we're gonna slow cook it until it gets nice and brown, and then we're gonna add some spinach. And that's gonna be one of our sides for tonight. And that's what you want. The pancetta's nice and golden brown. And now for the spinach. We created that flavor base of garlic, pancetta, and we got that nice and brown. And now I'm stirring it, making sure that the spinach is getting fully cooked. It was frozen spinach. Let it reduce a bit, get rid of some of that excess water, and it's done. You know, there's always the unsung heroes, the guys that are preparing the tables, setting up the chairs, the bar, all that kind of behind-the-scenes stuff. So I figured, why not prepare them something? So I'm gonna make a quick carbonara, pasta with bacon and eggs. Ooh, Giulio. Olio? Olio? See? Not everyone adds garlic. I like to add garlic and then I remove it, so I just leave it in big pieces. How do you like your carbonara? Do you like your pancetta thin? You like nice and thick? Yeah, me too. So it gets crispy and really good. On some of the pancetta, there's the tough skin, and that has to be removed. The importance of bruco to win the palio?
It's very.
It's everything.
It's everything.
It's everything.
It's the important part of your life.
A little bit of pepper and some parmigiano. Right into the egg mixture and give it a good mix. It looks good. I think the guys are gonna like it. And there it is. Proviamo ora. Buona. Mamma mia, è meglio.
Mia lince, oh lince, gentile, fa la guardia al mio boccale divino, fa la guardia al mio lambico di
Ragazzi, grazie. Cheers. After lunch, I meet Massimo's friend Andrea. Nothing is left to chance with the Palio. These horses are under constant watch.
This is the house of the horse. This is the stalla. And this is Gianni. This is the guy that is taking care of everything here.
So this is like top secret. Ciao, David.
You can
so
see
this is,
the horse now is taking a sleep. Tonight, he has to run again another trial. The name is Quirino.
Oh, is it true that if the horse wins, the horse sits at the head of the table during the party?
When the horse wins, we prepare a big party, and the horse is staying at the top of
the table.
At the head of the table, and is staying with us. He has, of course, his special meat.
Of course. Back at the Bruco Contrada's kitchen, there's more work to be done for tonight's big party. We made panzanella, bread salad. Now, usually you use day-old bread, but when you're cooking for 1,500 people, you have to buy bread. So we made it very simply with husking bread, wetting it, squeezing out all the water, making the bread just kind of crumble, adding some tomatoes, basil, olive oil, salt, pepper. And we have 5 or 6 guys all tasting it. None of us want to be responsible for 1,500 people to complain our panzanella is not good. We made a lot of panzanella. Usually you make a little bit, but this was, those bins were pretty heavy. In the kitchen, all these guys are working, and we're under some pressure because, in about an hour and a half, this place is going to be packed. Overall, I think it came out really well, and I guess we'll see how things go tonight. Guests begin to arrive at the Bruco Contrada's big pre-race Palio dinner. Well, this is the eve, or as they say in Italian, the vigilia of the big Palio race. So tonight is one big party, 1,500 people. And what I do know is there's gonna be tons of food, lots of wine and cocktails. The dinner was one big party. It was like having 1,500 of your closest friends over. All the waiters and staff were all young kids from the community volunteering for the big dinner. To feed 1,500 people, you gotta be fast. It's a young man's sport. They got the kids to do it. Now, these are ravioli with ricotta spinach, and it's toasted pine nuts with a hit of mint in a tomato sauce with a little strata parmigiano. So this is the pork tenderloin we made earlier. We made it with a nice crust with pistachio, almonds, cumin, and fennel. It gives it a nice Eastern flavor. The spinach, lots of flavor, and it's classic Italian sautéed spinach. I've always heard about the Palio and the importance of it for the people of Siena, but being part of it has been an absolutely magical experience. It's not just about a horse race, it's about tradition, it's about family, community. There's 1,500 people here, hundreds of volunteers. There's been people in the kitchen that have been cooking for 2 days, 18 hours a day, and it's all about celebrating their community. To me, the highlight of the evening was sitting at a table, not knowing anyone, and connecting with the people around me. Maybe it was the vino, maybe it was the food, maybe it was the atmosphere, but they took me in as one of their own. It's everything I imagined and even more. It's the day of the Palio, the big horse race. The intensity is thick. You feel it in the air. It's time for the big race. Everyone enters the piazza. Horses come out, the jockeys get set up. It is 600 years of history in one race. Every contrada sits in their own area, cheers for their own horse. While the Palio horse race continues inside the piazza, outside, the streets are empty and quiet. Then the news of the horse race and the winning contrada quickly spreads. We all met up at the church. This is where the victory procession for Il Drago happens. My team, Il Bruco, didn't win, but I had to be there. This is history. We all get ushered into the church. That's where the jockey gets blessed. He gets on his knees and is blessed by the priest. This is religion. The Palio is religion.
This was absolutely insane. I've never seen so many people with tears of joy jammed into a church. And the jockey, I mean, is basically now a rock star. Will go into the history books as the winning jockey, and basically for a year will be God here in Siena. I mean, that's what it's all about. I can't even imagine now the celebrations that will go on at the Drago Contrada. I mean, I'm not sure I'll be able to get in with this, but just being here at the church and watching the jockey be blessed and seeing the jubilation to me is enough. Now that the Palio is over for another year, I decide to leave the crowds of Siena and head to the countryside.
So, when you travel, you come across really interesting recipes. And this recipe I picked up in Siena, and it's a simple, peachy recipe with really flavorful ingredients. So the first thing is extra virgin olive oil and some garlic, just to flavor up the olive oil. This recipe has pancetta. I just love the fat and then those little bits of meat when they get crisped up. It's amazing. Okay. Just check on your garlic. You don't want to burn the garlic. You just want to flavor the olive oil. All the pancetta goes in. And while the pancetta's crisping up, I'm going to put in the peachy into the water. These are peachy handmade pasta, very typical in Tuscany. A little bit of peperoncino. I love heat. So when you're cooking fresh pasta, it takes a few minutes, it'll rise to the top and it's done. Now some asparagus, these have been boiled. They just go in right at the very end. And some fava beans, same thing. So I'm gonna throw the fava beans right in. And the asparagus. A little bit of puree of tomato. Un po' di sale, a little bit of salt. And now the garlic has done its job, and I'm just gonna remove it. And because the asparagus and the fava have already been boiled, it takes no time at all to make this dish. Just toss the peachy or the pasta right into the sauce, And now, un po' di parmigiano. And that's it. Plate it, add a little more parmigiano, and there you have it, peachy with asparagus, parmigiano, and pancetta.